lecture, this lecture contains the next mode of financing, which one is Mudaraba mode of financing. That is the most popular mode of financing in Sharia. So here I did a summary overview of the mode of financing. Mudaraba is a mode of financing, is a type of investment that is on the customer's behalf by a bank. So here the bank and the customer are two partners, and customer here is the investors. So this type of investment takes the form of a business of a contract between two parties. One party, who is the customers, are providing funds. The other party, who is providing the expertise, is the bank. Both parties agreed upon the profit in advance. So, in other words, this type of Sharia compliant investment, both parties share the profit. Okay, both parties share the profit in case of profit. In case of no profit, the loss is borne by the customers and the bank takes no fee. So in this case, two parties make a partnership, partnership. One party is the customers, depositors. One party is the customers who is providing the capital to the bank. So the capital provider is called here Rabbul Mal. Is Rabbul Mal. And the second party who provide expert work is the bank. We call it Mudarib. So in simple words, in case of profit, both parties will share the profit with agreed ratio, and in case of loss, it will be borne by the customer, who is the depositor. So this is the simple overview of the Mudaraba mode of financing. So in this mode of financing, we also say that this mode of financing is named profit sharing and loss bearing mode of financing. Profit sharing and loss bearing mode of financing. So in here, one thing very important. For example, the partnership earn losses. In this case, bank will not get its share of agreed profit. First loss will be recovered, and the worker, the manager, who is the bank, its wage will be negotiated, and there will be no profit. So no profit will be distributed. First loss will be recovered. Now, the next most important concept of Mudaraba mode of financing in Islamic banking is the restricted versus unrestricted mode of Mudaraba. The first type is unrestricted mode of financing. Unrestricted mudarba is that when capital is provided on unrestricted basis for any purpose that the manager feels fitting for the work. That is the unrestricted mudarba. If the capital provided put some conditions about the capital investments, that to what the funds can be invested, to what the funds can be invested, it is called restricted mudarba. Meaning simple, अगर तो कैपिटल प्रोवाइडर फंड प्रोवाइडर रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगा देता है कि फलां वर्क के लिए फलां इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोजेक्ट के लिए इन्वेस्टमेंट होगी, इट इज कॉल्ड रिस्ट्रिक्टेड. अगर वो रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं लगाता तो बोलेंगे अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड मुदारबा, unrestricted mode of mudarba mode of financing. Then the most important concept of mudarba is the two-tier mudarba. Two-tier mudarba is here. That is, I'm going to highlight for you. Two-tier mudarba, very clear, easy, you can understand easily. This was the initial concept of Islamic banking, because mostly Islamic banks personally are not involved in the business. They call for contractors, they call for customers who are interested in the specific projects of investments. So the Islamic banks is engaged into different mudarba transactions. The Islamic bank is engaged in two different mudarba transactions. One transaction is held with depositors. The depositor deposits the funds in the bank. And the second transaction is held with the customers to whom it provides financing. To whom it provides financing. In simple words, the first mudarba contract is between the bank and the client having deposits, who deposit the surplus amount into the bank. In this case, the depositor is Rabbul Mal and the bank is Mudari. In the second case, the second transaction of Mudarba, the second tier of Mudarba is between the bank and the clients and the customer. In this case, the bank is the Rabbul Mal, the capital provider, and the client is, the customer is Mudadib. So in this case, in the first case, the first transaction which is held between the depositor and the bank is the first tier mudarba. The second transaction, the second way of financing is held between bank and the customer, that is second tier mudarba. So the most important thing is here is that the depositors deposit their funds, place their funds with bank without any guarantee of the principal amount and the profitability of the investments. Because this is the type of investment, this is a mode of financing, profit sharing and loss bearing. Profit is shared between two parties and loss is borne by the Rabbul Mal, depositors. So depositors have no guarantee from the bank about the return of the principal amount and the profitability of the investment. So this type of mudarba, the profit will be shared, and in the first year mudarba or in the second year mudarba, the method is same. The profit will be shared between two parties, and the loss will be borne by the bank. The loss will be borne by the capital provider, who is the depositor, who is the final depositor. So one thing very important, it is noted that in two-tier mudarba mode of financing, this type of mudarba, bank plays an intermediation role between depositors and customers. Bank plays an intermediation role between depositor and the customers who need financing. Getting the point? So bank roles, the purpose of intermediation roles is to protect depositors from risk associated with this investment. The basic purpose of this intermediation role is to protect depositors more adequately from any kind of risk which is associated with this investment. अब बैंक की बेटा यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वो इंटरमीडिएशन का रोल प्ले कर रहा है। वो किसी ऐसे कस्टमर के साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे साइन नहीं करेगा जो नेग्लिजेंट होगा, लेस स्किल्ड होगा। वो एक्सपर्ट कस्टमर को हायर करेगा, फाइनेंस करेगा, कभी भी लेस एक्सपर्ट कस्टमर को फाइनेंस नहीं करेगा। सिंपल. So in this mode of financing, in this type of mudarba, banks play an intermediation role to protect depositors from any risk associated with the investment. So, okay, the second problem with this two-tier mudarba. The second problem with two-tier mudarba is that we find that not only depositors have their principal at risk, not only depositors' principal amount is at risk, but they also find significant ups and downs in the profits based on their deposits. Because depositors' profit depends upon customers, who is the third party. So in this type of mudarba, not only depositor principal amount is at risk, but there are less chances of profits that will be paid on their deposit. क्योंकि बेटा ये एक चेन of mode of financing है. यहाँ 3 parties involved हैं, 2 parties involved नहीं है. जितनी parties बढ़ती जाएंगी, risk बढ़ता जाएगा. So that is why it is not suitable. It is not suitable. It is much risky than simple mudarba. Then the next one is the problem and risk with mudarba mode of financing. That is very important. One of the major drawback and one of the major risks in this mode of financing is that we find no legal framework in the contemporary commercial laws of most countries. We find no proper legal framework in the commercial rules and regulations of most countries, especially in non-Muslim countries. When we find no legal framework, so then there is the higher amount of risk in this mode of financing, because In this case, investors are uncertain about their investments. This is the first risk with this mode of financing. Now we are going to the second risk with this mode of financing. The other major risk with this mode of financing is to specify a time limit in this mode of financing, because specification of the time limit in this mode of financing, in Mudaraba mode of financing, makes it null and void. The reason is that the principle of Mudaraba is that Mudaraba continues until the partner completes the work for which the agreement was signed and its proceeds, its benefits are collected. So बेटा second outcome, second shortcome ये कि हम कभी भी इसके लिए टाइम लिमिट डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते. हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि like this Mudaraba contract, this Mudaraba investment will be continued for 1 year. We cannot say this will be continued for 6 months, 9 months. We cannot specify, because principle of Mudaraba is that ये उस वक्त तक कंटिन्यू रहेगा जब तक काम कंप्लीट नहीं हो जाता, इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोसेस कंप्लीट नहीं हो जाता और उसके प्रॉफिट या लॉस बिल्कुल क्लियर नहीं हो जाते. So बेटा this collection of proceeds, profit or loss. So this point leads the bank to face difficulties in planning cash flow and profit occurring. Getting the point? So in this way, when time limit is not specified, then bank has the problem difficulties to plan cash flow and profits.